Hey there, Taurus, and Happy New Year. This is probably one of my favorite videos to do of the year. I always love to see what January shows for each sign. And also this January, I'm going to package together the extended forecast and then also looking at the whole new year. And instead of pulling 12 for the new year, I'm going to pull 4 cards for the 4 quarters. And if any of you want that 12 card spread that I did last year, I am offering that on my website, but it's just too time consuming to do 2 sets of videos for January. And I wanted to make sure I got these out right on time. So let's get straight into the video. And your channeled information this month, interestingly enough, is to slow down. So I know that maybe that's welcome news after the holidays. A lot of us may not have all the energy and not want to get right back in the swing of things. And basically this card is saying that's okay. There's a lot of change, a lot of information that you're going to have to process probably over the course of January. So take it easy, take your time, and in those pauses between your decisions and between the action, that's when the magic's going to happen for you. So sometimes we can move so quickly that we miss things, and I don't want you to do that this month. Let me shuffle the cards, and I'll give a little bit of a description of what I do for those that are new. Each month I pull a full Celtic cross for each sign, and then I also use, as you saw, channeled information that's unique to each sign, and I pull a catalyst card after that. So we're going to get right to that after I pull these cards, and I'll explain what that's about. So this doesn't surprise me because of the slowdown, but let's look at everything else. I will say this: if you're going to get the Devil card, I'd rather it be at the middle or in the deep past, because it means it's something that you can resolve. So don't worry about that. But it does mean that there's stuff that you need to focus on right at the beginning of the new year. I don't sugarcoat either. Okay, so let's look at that Catalyst card, which seems super important this month. So your Catalyst card is... Okay, this is pretty cool actually. The card itself says existence. It's a card of beginnings basically, but there's an existential sort of quality to this. There's a cosmic quality to this. So what I think, this is a common thread. I believe I saw the same in the Aries forecast. 2017 is going to be one of the most powerful years that we've had thus far. Powerful for spiritual growth and development, powerful for healing, and a year where you kind of get a choice to go polar, one direction or the other, polarized rather, either on a path of hope or on a path of negativity. And as we look at the center card, and really this is, gosh, I wish every sign could get this, because if we could just relax, slow down, and think before we act, a lot of the sort of accidents, surprises, upsets could be avoided. And this is saying, tune in. I want you all to tune in, and don't be afraid to dream. Dream really, really big, because from those dreams come the seeds of accomplishment, reality, what's going to happen next. But you have to think big. And sometimes we're in either a culture, a family, or a tradition that pulls us back into practicality. And one thing that I hope to do with this channel is to help us really go for the stars. Sometimes I'm not ever saying that you should give up something that's secure, but you can start to plan to change your life so that you can get closer to your dream. And I think a lot of us are on this path for the next year. All right, let's see specifically what's coming through for both the dreamers and the practical people this month. All right, so the Devil card this month is all about money, finances, and in some cases, being tied to a situation simply to provide. And I think this is something we can all relate to, whether it's a child, a parent, a brother or sister, or we're just worried about our own security. This card is basically saying it's okay to focus on this, but don't let it keep you in something that is no longer safe or secure or evoking happiness for you. So this could be being in a relationship that's abusive or where the other partner isn't doing their side of the bargain. This can also be about basically someone that's really just not your advocate. So what I want you to do is always to protect yourself, protect your assets, but it's time now to look beyond what seemed to work in the past, okay? What I see for your sign this month is wow, you're actually they're more powerful probably than you know. It's a good month for stepping out and trying new things. What I want you to do, though, since our channeled information was slowed down, is I want you to take the first week or 2 weeks of the month to really think through, because for me anyway, the Wands is a card of rumination, of consideration, of evaluation, of thinking. And sit until you really feel comfortable and you love the idea or love what you're going to go forward with. Then and only then should you move forward. I do think that the last 2 weeks of the month are going to be great for you if you want to break free from some of these habits. It should be noted that the devil can also indicate, basically breaking free from addictions or patterns in your life that have caused pain. This can also be with debt, because the Ten of Pentacles is on top of this. So I see you breaking free of the shackles if you'd like, if you're brave enough, if you want to. But you have to follow your heart. You kind of know what you've been wanting and hoping to do. For some of you, this can just mean losing sight of what it is what you really want in life, basically because of, again, structures, expectations, or just maybe making a good living, but losing sight of what it is that you love. And so that's for you, sort of letting go of the chains, letting go of that sort of slowing down of your dream. Okay, so relationships are going to be very, very important in January for you. We have 3 cup signs. Actually, there's four cups cards, rather. We have the Page of Cups here in your recent past, showing me that for many of you, you may be embarking on a new relationship. If you're doing that, I would say be cautious, because with the devil here at the center, you really want to make sure that the person is available, and they themselves perhaps are not kind of tied with similar patterns that you may be experiencing. A lot of times in our relationships, not a lot of times, I would say almost all of the time, we're pulling in a reflection of things that we need to learn. So when we release the pattern, then we're going to call in people that have also released it. But if we're still stuck in that, what we could do is call in people that are either unavailable or maybe similarly doing things that don't suit their highest interest, but they don't know how to get out. I see that towards the middle of the month, though, this is a much better time for you, and you're going to feel more security coming through when it comes to both interpersonal relationships and just your overall emotional mood. I feel that by the end of the month, this is the time for those of you that are looking for love. This is a good time to date. For those of you that are in a relationship, it's a good time to confront someone or to deepen the relationship. But basically, I see growth and maturity in those types of relationships. As we're looking sort of at your ego for the month, we have Knight of Cups in reverse, which means you may actually need more from other people. And it's an opportunity for you to ask, because I'm getting the sort of vibe here from the cards that some of you are more apt to give than you are to ask or receive or feel comfortable receiving. So this card is saying it's okay, it's actually normal. There should be give and take. And if you're either feeling emotionally a little bit down, don't be afraid to call up a friend. Don't be afraid to call on your partner and say, hey, you know what? Could I just get your advice, or I need some help? Connect with them and do it in a way that's not demanding, just saying, it really makes me feel good to just have someone to talk to. I don't need an answer. I just need a listening ear. And I think if you approach it in that way, you'll be more than likely to get what you need as far as emotional support this month. When I look at your resources, your environmental card, and basically, even though this isn't in hopes and fears, I think a lot of you are wanting more than you have at the moment, particularly when it comes to relationships. So what you have to look at, I'm going to pull the camera down, leave it down for a couple minutes here as we talk about these cards. With the 5 of Cups here in your environment, in your resources, and the Devil in the center, I feel like some of you have been talking yourselves into a situation that doesn't suit you. And you even know on some levels this isn't it. The problem with some of you is that it's not always clear cut. Like the devil can be in disguise. It can be in disguise, like living in an apartment that, it's comfortable, you've been there a long time, but you really are sort of maybe sick of the commute or the violence or the traffic or the isolation, whatever it is. There's something about it where it feels comfortable, but on the same level, it's holding you back. And so what you have to do, and it's a difficult decision, it feels like it's one that you're resistant to make, is to go for the difficult change in your life. what's cool about this in regards to, for those of you that might be shifting a career or might be also shifting to, a different part of the world or different part of the country, this is saying that it doesn't have to be forever. Sometimes we just need to make that shift and we can always come back. There's an open door. So if you're leaving a job, I feel like you actually could have the opportunity to come back and do freelance work. If you're leaving a relationship, you could make this a trial thing. The converse side of the reverse side of this is for those of you trying to break from a really difficult person or a very difficult job, what you have to do here is say, and if you really want them to be gone forever, this card is someone who, like this person who has a tendency to come back. And so what you want to do is say no in no uncertain terms. You basically want to make sure that they know that you're ready to move on. This is something that you're not interested in pursuing anymore. And it's all about really making strict boundaries and maybe even following it up with a contractual no, we're done, or a dissolution of the relationship. So with all of that being said, this is going to open up new opportunities for you because this card is one of travel and exploration as well. So if you make that change and you open yourself up to new things, you actually may have some unexpected travel and trips on the horizon, and you may meet someone who you've lost touch with because Eight of Cups in reverse is an unexpected person from your past or someone with whom you sort of feel like, wow, I've known you forever. So once you let go and make this difficult sacrifice or decision, and for most of you it feels like it's walking away, I see that it's going to be much brighter. You're going to feel like the surge of energy because whoever this was or whatever this was in your life, it pulled you back significantly and it definitely taxed your resources. So sometimes you're better off letting go of that, even though it could feel comfortable and it feels like, gosh, I don't know, maybe not. I think that once you've sort of explored your options and you have a better one, it's not a maybe not. It's like, yeah, I have to go for this. I know it's hard. For those of you who are sort of like single and feeling life is okay, I'm going to give you an alternate read here because sometimes it's not about a big radical move. It could be more subtle. For those of you that are just sort of feeling like life is all right, what this is saying here though is if we connect it to your catalyst card, the more you sort of spend in things that bring you passion, they don't have to necessarily be your job. I talk about this a lot month to month, but it keeps coming through because I think a lot of folks are maybe resistant or reluctant to go forward with this. If you could do something that just brings you joy and passion, it's going to change your energy and change the way people see you, because just in the general sort of demeanor that you have, your face, you can read people's energy in their face, like how sort of drawn down it is or withdrawn they are, versus if there's a light in it. And I feel like for those of you that could get a little bit closer to what you want to be doing in your free time, and this means choices, like maybe not watching television or playing games. Maybe this is about deciding, you know what, okay, I've been serious about learning a new language, or I want to travel some more, so I'm going to work a little bit extra or learn a new language and do something so that I can make this happen. But it means that I'm not going to just sit down and relax after work. You have to find the energy so that you can do new things. It also means that I still feel like a lot of you are on the brink of making a new sort of change in your life, a big change. Judgment reverse, though, is saying don't second guess yourself in January. If you are, slow down, think about why you're doubting yourself, and then if you need to get a second opinion, go for that. But honestly, I think that this is a month to be bold and to make bold moves, not to do them overnight, to get comfortable with them. That's why I got the slow down card, but not to eventually think them to the point that you talk yourself out of it, if that makes sense. All right, let's expand your forecast like we do every month, and we're going to start with a health card. So I'll turn the camera down as I do these four next cards. We look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. For your health this month, the focus will be on, I do like it when the cards sort of cooperate here. Leave a stressful situation behind. That is your devil card here. So whether it's a relationship, whether it's an addiction, whether it's dating someone that might already be with somebody, and therefore they're not readily available, you'll know what your stressful situation is. This is saying sometimes it's not worth trying to fix someone else's problems. You can always fix your own, But other people have free will, and if they're not willing to step forward and make the changes that are necessary, then it's time for you to let go of that. Let's look at your wealth, which includes career and opportunity, extending beyond wealth or sort of like feeding into wealth. So, okay, we have the ear chakra, which is really interesting. This comes through for clairaudience. And that's a fancy word for being able to hear things. But the other thing that I actually think this can be the voice in your head. So what I mean by that is most of us, I shouldn't say everybody has a different way of thought processing things. Like sometimes people see the future in, or just think about things in pictures. Sometimes they see it in words. Sometimes they hear it in a dialogue. I'm a writer when I'm not doing this, so I hear things. I hear a dialogue in my head. So what this would be for you is if you're sitting in the shower or, like driving towards work and you just sort of, you have these thoughts that are coming in, and it might be something like, wow, I really need to go and visit my parents, or I should really stop drinking, smoking, change my diet. Whatever the thoughts are, this is actually the most subtle way that the universe speaks to most of us. Because of television shows and movies, we think that the only way that it happens is by seeing like this, silvery image and you hear voices and an echoing sound. No, sometimes it's just a thought in your head, and it's a persistent thought, and that your guides kind of whisper the information in the form of a thought. So I want you to really pay attention to the thoughts that you're receiving this month. And for those of you that have a clairaudient gift, my experience with the universe is that it speaks in a gentle whisper a lot of times. And so you've got to pull down the noise in your house and in your environment so that you can hear that. So for those of you that want to develop your psychic hearing, quiet is very important. So turn off the TV, shut the window, maybe even put earplugs in for a little bit and meditate and wait and see what you're hearing. And remember that psychic hearing isn't always about vibrations coming in and hitting the eardrum. It's actually about perceiving a vibration. And so the hearing actually happens sometimes internally, not using sort of the eardrum. So for each person it's different. So that's why I want to encourage you to sometimes let the hearing happen in your head so that it's a thought form. For some of you, waveforms are going to be what you're more comfortable with, so you'll pick up on that. So anyway, lots of information, but I feel like for those of you that want to develop that, you'll get more, you'll get further along with clairaudience this month. For those of you that have never had luck with it, it means don't second guess yourself. Your intuition is going to be a quick thought or a gut feeling, and you need to go with that, okay? And that's going to lead you on the right path with work. So for those of you that are trying to decide what to do next or with your money, hey, I should invest it here, or hey, I should get this job, or maybe I should try making a living doing this, go for it, because your intuition will lead you on the right path. All right, now let's take a look at your health, wealth, love situation. So relationships, because for me, love can include both romantic and then also just personal relationships. I'll get a feeling once I see the card. Okay, so this card was reversed, just like the ear chakra was reversed, which showed me that we needed to talk about it a little bit. So with the stay card reversed, this is actually saying almost the reverse, which is it's time to leave, but you want to stay. And that really fits nicely with the devil card. So for those of you that are staying, ask yourself why. Is it for you or is it for the other person? And if it's for the other person, could it actually be leading to codependency? It's just an open-ended question that you want to consider. The other thing that happens with this card in reverse is it's actually saying not only is it not about stagnancy, it's about new things coming in. And I saw a lot of new love and new friendships coming in. And there's a lot of cups cards, so I wouldn't be surprised for many of you if that's a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces coming into your life. I see a couple potential people, and both younger and older. So there's a lot of opportunities here to meet friends and lovers this month. For those of you in relationships, I think you got to take care of yourself first. But that's sort of the information that I'm getting. And also, yeah, I think it's more water sign coming in because the past was showing through as fire. All right, as we look now at your destiny card, and this is destiny for January leading into 2017. We're going to look at the whole year in a moment. let me shuffle the cards and see what your destiny is. And then I'll review the month, and then we'll head towards the year. All right, so your destiny card for this month is coming apart. Wow, we've got a lot of confirmation on the potential for a breakup, or the potential for needing to not stay put in a relationship that's basically not working for you. So if that's the case, remember what I said earlier, that it's probably going to work out for the best, and that by leaving, you can actually allow new people to come into your life. So let's now summarize everything. That was a lot to take in, and I want to make sure that you grab all of this before we go towards the 2017 snapshot of the year. So again, there's a need to step away from something. You'll know what it is. It could be something comfortable. It could be something quite uncomfortable. But the problem is you've either been staying in for other people or for a false sense of security. What's important now is that you start to move towards, this existence card also means living in the moment, starting to enjoy each day, because I'm going to do a separate video sometime either late December or January about death and dying. But we've noticed over 2016 that there was a lot of well-documented celebrity deaths or people passing that a lot of people felt close to. And it reminds you that we're not given a certain age. Some of those people were taken in their 50s or younger, and it's a reminder that every moment counts. And so settling sometimes isn't acceptable. So anyway, that was a big message there. As we look at the month, and a lot of times people want me to pinpoint what parts of the month are going to be the easiest, I would say the beginning of the month is when you have to come to terms with what you want to step away from. The first couple weeks of the month, there's actually a creative outburst that's happening for you. So you could capitalize on that if you're someone that's creative. Especially if you sing, if you write, if you draw, if you sculpt, whatever it is that you do as your art, you're going to feel like a creative boon coming through. It's going to continue for the creative types for most of that month. I will also say that for some of you, there could be I'm getting that this could be a month of births. So not necessarily just a childbirth, but a birth of a project that you've really been working a long time on. It could happen this month for you. You needing to take care of yourself. That was one of the key messages here. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't second guess a decision that you've been thinking about for a long time. Know that there is an open door for many of you to come back to a situation that you want to leave. But since we have the Devil card, I encourage you to maybe make a firm line in the sand saying, you know what, I'm ready to move on. This isn't what I want anymore. Remember that slowing down is key, but I don't want you to slow down to the point of stopping. I would say by the middle of the month, by the second week of the month, you should be ready to make those difficult decisions. For health, it's very important to reduce stress and to leave people that are sort of not willing to change behind. They're not someone that you should spend a lot of time and energy on. When we look at wealth, listen to your intuition. We talked a lot about that, so I'm not going to go in depth on that anymore. When we look at love, it's about being willing to step away from something, especially if you feel like you're staying for the wrong reasons, and know that if you leave, new things, new exciting relationships could come. Around the 4th and the 6th of the month, there could be this could be the point where you decide to make the separations happen. So quitting, leaving, breaking up, moving, whatever your separation is, it feels like it's going to happen within the first 2 weeks. But it looks like overall you're headed in a good direction. I love that this is your catalyst card, and it really is saying live each day in the moment. I'm going to come closer on this because it's beautiful. For those of you that have the opportunity to go stargazing at night, please do it. You might get inspiration. You may just feel a little bit less sort of stuck in your head, because when you see the brilliance and the beauty that's out there, you realize how insignificant and small some of our problems and worries are. It brings you into that cosmic view. Okay, now for the fun part, we're going to take a sneak peek into the next year. As I said, we're going to do 4 cards, each one representing about 3 months. And for those of you that want the larger one, you can still reach out to me for a private reading. But I think this is going to be a lot easier to take in, because sometimes when I go through 12 cards, it's almost too much information for some people, particularly when I'm doing the monthlies in addition to that. So let's give these cards a really good shuffle since I just used them. So I'll do it a few times. Bear with me. I normally do this before I read, but since we're reusing it, I want to make sure that we get a nice, good shuffle. Perfect. All right, so 4 cards. I'm actually going to cut the deck 4 times and pull off the top of each. Awesome. Really great cards for the year. Don't worry about the reversals. When we get 4 reversals, I usually don't pay as much attention. And also, to me, reversals just mean a delay, which fits perfectly with the message that I saw. All right, so I always like to look at what I call karma and destiny when we look at the whole year out. So let's start first with a karma card. Karma is what's affecting you from the past, lessons that you can release, etc. And then let's look at your destiny card. Destiny being really where you're headed and what the big purpose of the next year is for you. All right, so these are some exciting cards. We're going to move through quarters first, but actually, you know what? I'm going to go for the karma and destiny. So this is River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement. So water, lots of water signs, water imagery coming through for you. So what this means for you is creative energy, love, passion. When it's to an extreme, you want to be careful that it doesn't turn into for some of you, it could edge on depression. But with this being upright, and with a lot of the other cups cards in your general spread being upright, it's about grounding yourself and staying in a place of gratitude. I think that's what's going to help you from going into any sadness or depression. But with this, basically what you don't want to fight this year is the flow of things. So if you're getting signs to go somewhere and it scares you, this is saying, and it's more like nervous, not like frightening, but sort of if it's about, you know what, you have a chance to travel somewhere and you're just nervous about that, this is saying, but if you're being pushed in that direction, it might be worth listening and going with the flow. Okay, for your destiny card, this is a very interesting one, but it's about saying no, about having the courage to turn things off, to let go of things. So the power of the word no, use it as you need to this year. It's going to be very, very important, but setting limits and not letting people overuse your skills, your time, your energy, it's very, very important. Okay, for the first 3 months of the year, for January, February, March, what we're looking at is Page of Wands. I'm going to read these as upright. As I said, there's just a delay in a lot of these things, and I think it has more to do with confidence than anything. So for Page of Wands, what this is really saying is this is your chance to come out with things that you want to do, to reinvent yourself. So this is sort of a coming into the world, like the old version of an announcement of a coming out, that sort of thing. So I think it's very exciting. It's a chance to launch something new if you want to, but it's a page, and a page is the lowest of the court cards. So I think the fear for some of you is that you have to start brand new. But I do think that for many of you, if you take that bold move, by April, things are going to start to feel very, very good. I did get a little bit of a download that you want to take care of your health over the first 3 months of the year, focusing on throat in particular. So for those of you that are either having some persistent issues with allergies, with a sore throat, I want you to take care of your sinus situation. For those of you that are perhaps not speaking enough, a lot of times you can lose your voice or you have issues with the vocal cords because you're maybe not being assertive enough. So sometimes, obviously, it's just due to a virus we get sick, but sometimes we shut down our throat area because the universe is saying, you either speak your truth or you're not going to speak. So think about it as you're getting some of the ailments in your body. Where are they falling, and what is that saying? Maybe in another video in the future, we can talk about different areas of the body and what the sickness can indicate on a metaphysical level. Again, there's of course practical reasons, but recovery time can improve, and sometimes just things can go away when we realize, you know what, this blockage isn't just about a sore throat, it's about something more. I see a lot of growth happening for you as we go into this is January, February, March. So April, May, and June are looking really, really good for you. Yeah, April, May, and June. This could be the time for some of you when, if you decided that you wanted to leave, a new job happens, or if you decided, you know what, I want this, I'm going to speak up, or I'm going to go for something different. You could get promotion, you could get a transfer. You could also, for some of you, be graduating at this time or getting a certification. This usually indicates the end of an educational process or the end of a certification. And it's usually very positive. It's a card that shows whatever you've been working on, people are going to receive positively what you've put out there. I love the card for the next, for the third quarter of the year. So we looked at January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and September. So for July, August, and September, we've got the Magician card. This is when the magic happens for you. You actually are going to have a really nice end of the year because everything that you've been working hard for, it's going to kind of kick off in these final months of the year. So leading up to October, so basically the 3 months prior to October, really, really positive for you. The only thing that I would say that you want to focus on here is to not get distracted. One thing with the Magician card is there's a tendency for like ADHD where you can have like 5 things on the stove at once and something starts to burn because you weren't paying attention. So this is saying don't overextend yourself. Don't allow yourself to get sort of like too excited by all this stuff. You really want to focus on what's important and then you can make it happen. Trust your intuition and work really hard. You should see fruits from that labor. The final months of the year we have, so this would be October, November, December. 9 of Cups is fantastic. Really, that's meaning that you're starting to feel better about yourself, feeling better about your life, feeling better about where you're at in your life. And so I want you to also make sure that you don't sugarcoat everything. This card is saying, it's okay to have ups and downs. And so when we experience a setback, 9 of Cups sometimes wants to just push that under the rug. I'm the sort of like coach and intuitive that says we're allowed to process a bad day and you don't have to have someone say everything happens for a reason. We know that intuitively, but sometimes we just have to feel like, why did this have to happen? Why did I get that parking ticket? Whatever it was, it's sometimes a very small setback. This is saying, have your moment, have a day if you need to, but then sort of snap back into it and realize, okay, I'm not going to let that define me. The scratch on my new iPhone or the scratch on my car or whatever it is, it's not the end of the world. And focus on all of the positive moves that many of you have made. Many of you have stepped away from situations possibly that have been really negative, and now you're at a point where you're feeling comfortable and feeling confident. So I'll pull these cards in the proper order here so you can see them one more time. First 3 months of the year, we're seeing a chance for making bold moves. You want to think about them before you make them, but then I feel like as you get into April, May, and June, you're going to be willing to make those changes. You're going to be recognized, possibly graduating and being hired or promoted into a better position. As we go into July, August, and September, this is when truly the magic is happening for those of you that are applying yourself. Try not to get distracted. Try not to use other things as a crutch, because the Magician can come up, and I saw the Devil earlier, so I have to mention it. It can be a card for those of us that have worked through something difficult. Sometimes it's an addiction, sometimes it's a negative pattern, and then this card can bring it back sometimes because you're stressed and all this good stuff is happening, and you sometimes worry, can I keep up with it? Don't worry, don't step backwards in those habits. You worked really hard to get away from them. For those of you that you've never had that in the past, this just means trust yourself and don't second guess that you're going to be able to accomplish what you want. Because doubt, just like sort of passion, can be an attractive force. So if you doubt, you're going to pull situations that are going to confirm the doubt. Towards the end of the year, October, November, and December, this is really just about staying grounded in the positivity. Look at all these cards. There really are no dark cards. They're good for you this year. This should be a year of growth, of gradual improvement. The only frustration for you, again, when we looked at that channeled information, is it's slowing down a bit. It doesn't happen on the sort of timeline that you want, but you're ending on a great card. So a lot of water coming through for you this month, this year, meaning creativity, love, passion. Stay grounded throughout that. This is a good time to practice meditation or to do things like taking a walk or sitting outside under a tree, reading a book, doing something that can kind of pull you into the earthly plane. It would be great. Your biggest challenge this year is to say no, to speak up, to say when you, basically to say when, actually, just knowing when enough is enough, okay? So I hope this was helpful for you. I really liked the feel of having just 4 cards. It gives you a flavor for 2017. Again, if you want that month by month breakdown, feel free to reach out. I'll post a link in the corner so you can see rates and availability, and I'll probably keep that there for at least a month, that limited time year at a glance reading. Otherwise, a great way to stay in touch with me is to just to subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, you can subscribe to my newsletter as well. And both of those are, I know some people don't want to be in the Google ecosystem, and that's all right. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So whatever feels good for you, I'd love to have you follow me there if it's something you'd like to do. And if you found that this was useful, go ahead and there's a button at the end, and you can give a donation as little as $1. It helps. But there's no pressure. I really do this as a service. So my thanks is just you being present here. And I really do appreciate all of the likes and subscribes every month, as well as the really beautiful comments that a lot of you leave. So thank you for doing that. I wish you all a very happy new year. It looks like there is prosperity coming through for you, new career opportunities for many of you, and a chance to maybe start to connect with that divine purpose that we talked about. That's something that I want all signs to focus on. So I wish you the best. And I look forward to seeing you again. Talk to you in February. Bye-bye.